Welcome back to Command West, a
Whoa.
podcast where we tackle the latest Washington football team news and answer the hard-hitting questions like, if 40 bushels are in a ton, then how many sacks are too many sacks? I'm Bradley.
Oh, man.
Who's Tico?
I'm Tico.
Oh, I thought I was Tico for a second because there was such a long pause there before you said your name.
I'm still stuck on the sacks.
Wow.
I'm Eddie P or Pasta or Pastrami or Eddie Passerini, whatever you want.
We got to. Oh, go ahead. Who are you?
I hadn't introduced myself yet, and I'm Donnie.
You worried
Wow.
about
And
me,
we gotta
man.
get a
yourself
whoop
in there, man.
whoop, whoop. We need a celebration dance, you guys. We gotta
We
win.
are-
ATL.
After 3 weeks of straight
ATL.
losses, we gotta
Talk to him,
win.
y'all.
I don't move like that.
I think that intro was just as messy as this win was. So,
Yeah.
there you go. It's fitting.
Yeah.
Hey,
Yeah,
man,
well,
we
you
got
know.
24 points out of it.
We all missed rehearsal today, so so that we can be excused.
I
But
just got some dental work done, so if I sound a little different, or if
are you
if my
still
lip
woozy?
is yeah, I'm a little still woozy.
Okay.
Just know
Okay.
that's why that is.
A little still woozy.
A little woozy.
Yeah, give us a second. We'll all catch up to you, and then
Yeah.
we'll just be on an even plane.
Yeah, man.
Big game, big win,
It was a
Yeah.
big win,
big
man.
win. I mean, a
Yay.
win's a win. There was some
Win's a win.
ups and downs, and we can get into it. But we're gonna take the win. We'll take
I
the
don't
win any
know.
day of the week.
I don't know why I don't feel like great about this win, to be honest. It's not that
Really?
I don't feel good about the win. It's just that that Bears loss was so deteriorating to my opinion of this season. It was just like, okay, we beat Atlanta. Let's beat Philly, and then I'm back. You know.
No, that's why this game was so important, because the Bears loss was humiliating. And look at Atlanta, they may not be the Eagles or the Chiefs, but they got a strong defense.
And they went into it, Donnie. They went into it with a better record than us.
That's right, they did. That's
Yeah.
right,
Right.
they did.
And do you think they went into it thinking, oh, gee, our team is going up against a fairly easy one? No.
Yeah.
So I also think we looked pretty impressive from a defensive standpoint. I mean, it's obvious that's how the game was won.
hmm
I looked like we controlled the line of scrimmage.
The defense
But
stepped up.
there was a lot to be happy about. So I'm going to take it away as like it's an Atlanta team that supposedly had a pretty strong defense.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And we did something to them. We stopped their run, which was pretty damn good.
That's
'Cause
big.
what we
That
had
was
to
huge.
do, it forced the quarterback to throw the ball more than he wanted to. He
Yeah.
threw-
Yeah,
So-
Bradley, you want to remind us what your
Yeah,
commandment was
I
last week?
I felt really
'Cause I think
good
it's-
about watching that aspect of this game because they finally listened to me, and guess what? Look what happens. My commandment was make Desmond Ridder beat us. And I think that the Bears game, I felt that the defense, I thought the coaching was a really big problem in that game, because I felt like the team didn't prep, they weren't defensively ready to face the Bears offense that was looking better. And that had a few really, key players on that team that we just let run free. And in this game, actually I'll get to that. We were able to rally and scheme to stop Bijan Robinson, and Tyler Algier and Cordell Patterson, who are all three fantastic running backs. And we were able to make a young quarterback who is inexperienced and prone to making mistakes, i.e., 3 interceptions, have to throw a lot more than he probably wanted to, and run. And they didn't run less. They really didn't. They had a lot of attempts. They just couldn't do anything with the running game, which was very inspiring to me, because it was like, okay, at least they knew what they needed to do to win this game. What was kind of frustrating, I was talking to my dad about this. I said it was kind of bittersweet almost to see that, because it was like, yeah, we can do this. We did that against Atlanta. We were able to scheme and coach a good defensive scheme. But the bitter part was, what the fuck has taken so long? It's been 5 years, and I feel like all 5 of these years I've had a similar complaint where it's like, why aren't we scheming a defensive game against our opponent? It just feels like we go out and we do the same thing.
It's the same thing.
We hope that it works. And against some teams, it's really good. And against some teams, it's really bad. And it feels like good defensive coordinators scheme for the team that they're playing. And it feels like we haven't done that in 5
But
years.
how could Del Rio not be doing that? He's Del Rio. He's supposed to be the guy.
And he's
One of the
played,
guys.
him and Ron have both played. They both coached. They have one of my guys, shout out Louis T, who I listen to. I love this phrase. He goes, that guy has forgot more football than I would ever know. But those guys know football more than I will ever know. I can never say that, what I mean. But then it's like, why am I seeing things that they're not?
Yeah.
Why am I figuring out shit like, you should scheme for offenses, and then they don't, or they do and they do it wrong. Like, I just don't get it. And I know that we can do it because we just did. That's the frustrating part. But overall, I'm happy that we did it.
I mean, I get frustrated too, because when you hear, I said this to you when we were talking about it, Ron's response in the pressers. How many times have you heard Ron say this? They'll say, hey, there's a problem. They're beating us downfield. They're beating us in the secondary. What do you plan to do to address that? And his answer will be, well, we'll have to wait and see. We'll have to look and see, won't we? And I'm like, what? Look and see? That's such a lazy. I mean, again, granted, maybe you don't want to. Maybe he doesn't want to say anything to the press, but you kind of get this impression like we're going to keep trying the same thing and see if something comes together. As opposed to like, let's. Here's the issue. The press can see it because they just called you on it.
Yeah.
Why can't you see it and why don't you address it?
Yeah.
I get the frustration.
And the other thing it feels like is, although, and I'm not going to take anything away from the fact that they schemed against the run, played five man boxes, which means 5 defensive linemen or a linebacker on the defensive line. They played a lot of that.
Yeah.
Guess who still had big games? The other 2 guys that are on the Atlanta offense. There's 3 dudes. There's Drake London, there's Kyle Pitts, and there's Bijan Robinson. We took Bijan Robinson out of the game, who is the most important, in my opinion. But Kyle Pitts gets his first touchdown of the season and has a big game. Drake London has about Tico, you're probably looking at the stats right now. You can probably tell us what they got.
He had 9 receptions, 125 yards.
I mean, like,
he's a big boy too. They showed one stat, and Eddie were looking at the height of all of their receivers, man. They were all giants, man.
Mm-hmm.
All of them were giants. So,
thick.
The fact that Forbes wasn't out there, I don't think he played a snap, did he?
I don't think he did. He was benched the whole game.
And
I hate that.
I do too. I mean, I get limiting his play, but not playing at all. I don't know how's he supposed to grow.
It's such a bad way to coach a player.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a confidence killer.
Sometimes we don't know if he had a little injury or nick or whatever, because he got fried for a couple games, and I really think
breather. You need a breather.
I think Danny Johnson really played a good game.
I thought he did too.
He did.
And
but we drafted the kid in the first round. You can't have your first rounder benched in week 6. That doesn't look good.
Well,
maybe it's a scolding. It's just
that's what I feel like. It's like punitive,
which is weird.
And I don't
know. It's fatherly. It's old school. It's you're gonna pay your dues until you understand what you got to do out there, and maybe
and also we're not in practice with these guys.
No, we're not.
These coaches are there in practice, and they're going, "Hey, Danny, okay, I know we drafted this kid. We wanted him to start. Danny's healthy. Danny's looking good in practice. Let's give Forbes a chance to watch the game and see from the sidelines what it's supposed to look like."
You know what it tells me?
Here's a good takeaway. We had 3 interceptions.
Yeah.
Defense played good. 3 interceptions.
Yeah.
That's something to cheer about.
No,
How many times did we
I'll
walk away
give you a
with
cheer
3
for that.
interceptions? And
That's
I thought Desmond Ritter, I'm really impressed with this kid. He's got a rocket arm. He, he's cerebral. He can run. He got a couple of key first downs against us.
he had a big game.
Yeah, but he
Yeah.
also
He had over
threw
300
it
yards.
47 times. He
He
threw
did
it
what?
47 times,
Yeah.
which is crazy. And
Yep.
if you notice that, I heard it on, I think it was on one of the shows online, but they were talking about how they couldn't run the football. But why didn't they do some zone reads? Ritter never had a zone read option. That guy can move.
Mm-hmm.
And yet he just kept slinging 47 times. Sooner or later, we're going to pick him off.
Yeah.
So
Well, they were
And-
playing from behind.
And we got 3
You know, they
sacks too. We got 3 sacks.
which is terrible.
Well, a sack is a sack. You know,
We had a
that's
lot
how-
of hurries. We had a lot of hurries. We put him into jeopardy a lot.
I think Casey Toohill had 2 of those sacks. Am I right about that? There was a couple of names I wanted to point out because they're not the household names that we hear, the big stars on the defense. And you mentioned one of them already, Danny Johnson. I thought had a good game. Casey Toohill had a great game.
Yeah, he had 2 sacks. One of them was right near the line of scrimmage, but it was definitely on the offensive side.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then that one where he
didn't let him
chased
get
down
away.
Desmond, that was pretty good. And
Yeah.
The way he
huge
took on
sack.
the line, he took a line that he said, I am going to go so fast in this line.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're going down.
He showed his
Did you
speed.
notice how nicely he hit him? He laid him down gently.
laid him
He got
down
up.
nicely.
He looked at the crowd and went, yay. Which is
And
so gay. I
Casey
know.
and Casey Toohill also had basically a sack, which is what he caused a intentional grounding.
That's right.
That was like that dropped it back like 12 yards or something.
That's a sack in my book. Yeah,
It's a sack
I
in
agree.
my book.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Casey Toohill basically, and
Huge
I
game.
like Casey. I think he's very athletic. I think that he's not the biggest dude in the world, but he really showed, like Tico and Eddie were saying, he showed his speed in this game. However, I'm going to be the cynic here and say
boy.
that the between the 20s of the field is what I've heard to be referred to as the fool's gold of the field. Any relatively competent offense against a mid-tier defense can move the ball within the 20s. It's when you see the problems start to happen in the red zone.
Mhm.
And that's where I think Desmond Ritter struggled the most against us. I actually think
Yeah.
that we had one really good interception where Kendall Fuller has been playing
He jumped.
outstanding all year. And then we had one of the worst passes I've ever seen, which came off of pressure, and a very, very lucky / terrible throw to Jamin Davis, who picked off with 30 seconds last of the game. So, Tico, although I have been impressed with Desmond Ritter last game, I think he was pretty bad in this game because all of his numbers come in between those 20s, and then he fell apart. There were some really key plays that he just didn't show up for, and I don't think he's a great quarterback. And it's funny because he was ranked above Sam Howell, and I don't think anybody will put Desmond Ritter above Sam Howell after watching that game. And I just, I still worry because, our defense.
Okay, I can't take this anymore, Bradley. Come on. I'm not gonna let you be Mr. Doomsday all day. I know you got your tooth cracked today.
Did you say
You had the
tooth?
dentist drilling on you now.
Did you
But
say
we're not
tooth?
gonna let you be Mr. Sourpuss
Okay,
all night.
all right, take it over.
Look, look, this guy
Get me outta here.
Desmond Ritter. Let's talk about Desmond Ritter. 307 yards
Oh,
Yeah.
through our
Nice.
151.
Yeah,
Big
that means our
deal.
defense is pretty bad.
No, it means he threw it
it's
47
just,
times.
He's good, and he was throwing to some big boys out there, man. Drake London, and I mean they got a bunch of receivers, man.
Look,
but
Wait, how many
football
yards
players,
did he have
like,
again,
There are good.
Tico?
307.
Drake London,
There
the
is
quarterback
fanta-
had Ritter had 307.
Yeah, that's rough.
You know,
I-
and
there
You know
are
what that
great
was?
players.
Drake
That's
London was torching us, man.
6 yards a pass
125.
average.
That's
Six
what
and
I'm
a half
saying,
yards.
Tico. That's what concerns me. And here's what I'm gonna say. Good, there are great players on every NFL team. Drake London, DJ Moore, AJ Brown, Stephon Diggs. Those are the guys who've really cooked us in the passing game thus
Oh,
far
yeah.
this season. And those are all really good players. So I'm not coming out here and being like, Darnell Mooney had 250 yards and 3 touchdowns. No, it wasn't just some random. It's the best player on their team. My problem is why aren't we keying on that guy? And players are
Well-
going to make plays. Players are going to make plays.
Yeah.
You know, and sometimes coaches, you
happens.
just go, what are you guys thinking?
Yeah.
Same thing happened in that Colorado game, which I'm not going to go into right now. They had a 29-point lead in the half, going in the half. But anyway, let's talk about the offense, guys. What you think?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
What you
Let's
think?
talk about our receivers, Tico. What do you think about some of our receiving stats over there?
Terry McLaurin, kind of
Okay.
a breakout day, six receptions,
Early
81
in the game.
yards.
They got to him
Yeah.
early. I
They
like
got
that.
to him early and often.
I think the
You
best
know?
stat from Terry is actually the targets,
Yeah, well, he had 11 targets yesterday.
which is I think, if I'm not mistaken, a fifth of the plays that we ran.
Well, you're doing your math, man. It's
Because I think we ran
pretty good.
50 something offensive plays and we
Okay.
targeted Terry 11. That's what it should be.
Yeah.
I mean, we should have more offensive plays, but
Right.
we should be targeting Terry that much. I love
I
that.
don't like the fact that there's 5 mishaps on Terry.
Well,
Yeah.
You know.
here's the
But
thing.
but
though,
but
Tico.
but no. I'm trying to stay positive today.
Well, I was about to give
I'm
you a
trying to stay-
positive for that. I was about to
No,
give
I
you a
mean
positive.
I want to get I was getting ready to go
Okay,
negative.
gotcha.
I was
Yeah,
going
yeah.
negative.
Here's
I
your
was getting ready to go
positive for that.
negative.
Is
When he averaged 13.5 yards.
great.
Curtis Samuel had a nice little.
Wait, hold on.
catches.
Let me say the thing about Terry though, about the
Go ahead
5
and talk on
misses.
Terry.
Is I noticed that when Sam throws the ball away or needs to just dirt it, he throws at Terry because he thinks, all right, Terry, if anybody's gonna catch this ball that I'm just trying to get out of my hands, it's gonna be Terry. So
Yeah.
I definitely noticed at least 2 of those misses to Terry were one at his feet and one
Throwaways.
way over his head,
Mhm.
which counts as targets. So that's the only thing
Yeah.
I'll say about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
well, target, but
Okay, fair enough.
But anyway, go to talk about Curtis because I thought he had a good game too.
Yeah, Curtis Samuel had 42 yards. Brian Robinson had 25 yards. He had a nice little.
Each of them had a touchdown.
Yeah.
Yeah, Brian Cream.
Oh man, was
Oh,
that a great
he
run
knocked-
catch?
Number 25, I think, or
We
27.
we have beaten Atlanta 3 years in a row.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
nice.
Crazy.
was that with Matt Ryan, one of those too, or
Mm,
been a while since Matt
The
Ryan.
first
I know
one,
last
it
year
was, yeah.
it was Mariota last
Yeah.
year.
Mariota?
yeah. But Brian,
You guys
Robinson-
watching that show, Quarterback?
Yeah.
Yeah, I watched it. Yeah. It's
Yeah,
really good.
Mariota.
Sadly, have not had the
Very good.
moment to do
No,
that.
it's good.
but I will
It's good.
definitely
It's
check
good,
it out.
Yeah. But Brian
Okay, let's-
Robinson runs over the Atlanta defense because last year he had a
did that
big
last time.
big
Yeah, he
run where
did.
he ran over somebody for a touchdown too. So
I saw somebody did a split screen between this
Yeah.
year's run and last year's run.
yeah,
Like,
that was cool.
running over the defense. That was awesome.
But let's what
And
do you
Just
think-
talking about, weren't you just talking
how'd
about
you feel
offense
about
though?
Yeah,
That's what you're talking
Antonio
about. offense?
Gibson. Antonio Gibson, as long as he's contributing, I mean, he didn't have a lot of yards in the rushing game. He only had 15 yards on 3 attempts, but his touchdown was well set up.
That
Oh,
was
it
that
was
was well,
such a good
well
play
was
call.
sweet.
designed and executed.
Yeah.
I just
It was a
was
beautiful
sweet.
design. I think that I have a little bit of frustration, and we'll get to this, I think, with Eric Bieniemy in a second. Because I think that he had some hot and cold in this game. That play, sticking with
Oh,
the
yeah.
positive, Tico, that play was beautiful.
That play
Beautiful
was
design.
beautiful.
I thought our 4th down play, love that. But I do feel like, we have some players, and it's hard to get everybody touches. It really is hard to get everybody touches,
Yeah.
especially when you only run 53 offensive plays. That's yeesh.
Yeah.
But I do feel like Antonio Gibson is one of those players who is so dynamic in certain situations that it feels like creativity. We have some interesting, Curtis Samuel, I feel like has the potential of like a Deebo Samuel. He's got that creative ability, So is Antonio Gibson is like, maybe he's not a run down your throat back, because he has that trouble with fumbling, but get him out in space. And we've seen what he can be with some of the screen games that we've done to him. He is fast. He's got quick twitch, and he is big. He can run you over at times. We saw that in this game where he had like a run that was like a 2 yards and then just kept going for like 11.
Yeah.
I think that I've kind of been a little frustrated with the creativity with Summer. And I think that Curtis is getting those touches. He had a jet sweep today that went to like the 1 yard line, which set up the Antonio Gibson touchdown. So I think that,
go ahead.
That's all I had to say. Antonio Gibson's dynamic.
Well, you guys are great at, picking up all the statistical data, and me, I'm not Mr. Stats. But the thing that I could only pull from this that I saw was more on a global level and a team level. And it was this, thing someone else I heard mentioned, game flow. Like we were clicking in the first half. Yeah. We had this flow to us where our sequence of play calling was right. Yep. The cadence was right. The way we started to get the momentum started to show. And that's, I guess, what game flow is, we found a way to look like, all our gears were moving at the right time. And, all these little passes where we want to get Gibson out in space and stuff like that. I see those are the ones that I like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In fact, if you watch what happened with Dak last night, and I don't like to talk about him because he gets me thinking about like Dallas quarterbacks and my head starts to explode. But the way he moved around, he made plays happen after he was in serious trouble.
Yeah.
And he found a way to have these players come back to him and get open. And they got that one big play. Remember, I don't forget what it was last night, but it was just so beautiful. It was like, and we had one with Sam too, where he actually did that. He rolled out, didn't have anybody to throw to, and he cut it inside to someone moving in open space at full speed.
Mm-hmm.
Those type of moves are the college-like.
Yeah.
Tico likes that, likes to see that college kind of hoopla. That's why he loves to watch his team. And I saw a little of that, and that was that young. There was that young spark of offensive prowess. You know.
I tell you what else. We're talking momentum swings. Our boy Jamison Crowder came through in a big way, didn't he not? Now that's a return game, right?
He sure
did.
Welcome home, Jamison Crowder.
Thank you.
I think I owe James Crowder and the rest of the cast of Command West a big double O right there, because I was very much not happy about that signing, because I thought that Dax Milne could hold on to the ball. Knock on wood.
You were kind of shit.
Crowder has not fumbled yet, and he has made an explosive play, which is
you want to hear an interesting statistic? Can anybody, this is a game, this is a quiz I'll throw out there. When was the last time Washington returned a punt for a touchdown? Anybody give me the
year? Was Jamison Crowder a couple of years ago before he left.
2016.
Nope, I think that's wrong.
2016.
I think
Jamison
it's wrong.
Crowder.
Actually, I think
it was
DeAndre
Carter. Yeah.
I think he was last, but that's what they were saying
on
TV.
Wait, was it that might have been a kick return?
It could have been a kick return,
kickoff,
and a punt. Yeah. Okay.
Because I looked it up shortly before the
all right, special teams. We'll narrow it down. It was a special.
Yeah, and come on, man. Look, that was a 61-yard run. That's a game changer. We went in and scored after that.
Oh yeah, no, that was.
And so
around. That totally turned the momentum
I mean,
around.
you guys were talking about, at least Dax Milne can catch the ball.
It was me
and get a half a yard.
It wasn't you guys. It was me.
I think Donnie was on that bandwagon too.
Well, I just support my son.
All right.
But I'll take full responsibility, because you're right, Tico. You're right. Continue with your take, because
that was 61 yards of field. I mean, come on. And we were, it got us right in the red zone. If he had a little more steam.
I know. He did. I think maybe he showed his age a little bit at the end of that run.
But he's got that quick foot. He's got that quick move. which
He
is
put
his-
all you really need to be. You don't really need that home run hitter because 60 yards.
That's a good run.
That did,
It's
that
the
did.
first
Our
30
offense
that you
can
want
do-
to be your fastest.
Exactly.
Pico,
Yeah.
remember we were laughing, we were watching him. I was watching him, he was getting caught from behind, and I said, "Oh my God, he's going down." I'm like, he's wasted, he's done. He's not
He
gas.
was-
Also,
gassed,
he had a DB or somebody on his ass too.
Yeah.
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 You know what I
That's
mean?
huge.
So
And you
it's
know
not,
they're fast. Yeah.
you know, they got.
Like-
I mean, you see these guys on the kickoff and punt the punt return team get down the field so fast.
Yeah.
It blows my mind, man.
And this,
It
and I
blows
will
my
say
mind.
that this was our best special teams performance all year because one, I mean, the Jamison Crowder thing definitely stands above the rest, but we didn't miss a field goal. We didn't miss an extra point. Our gunners on special teams without our best player, Jeremy Reeves, being out.
Right.
Jatavius Martin, who's our second round
Yeah.
pick, had a big game on special teams. Tariq Castro Fields had a really nice tackle on special teams, which we've been struggling with this year. So I'd like to see that has, started to make a change.
Was that the 2-point conversion you're referring to?
I'm talking.
Who-
That's
who-
Khalid Hudson. But
Yeah.
that's-
Khalid Hudson. He was on my list too of names you don't hear all the time. That had a big game.
Exactly.
He had a
I
big
don't
hit
remember.
on that 2-point conversion. Yeah.
So
He
so
did.
while
He
we
did.
were
He stopped it.
Yeah.
So while we were taking a break, Dad, you mentioned something about our defense that I
Sure.
want to mention about Khalid Hudson. But why don't you go ahead and say what you were
Well,
going to say?
I was gonna do some stats of my own. I was looking at the leaderboards here, right? So you got the 5 top passing leaders from last week. Our boy's not on there. You got the top 5 rushing leaders. We don't got anybody on there. You got the top 5 receiving leaders. We don't got anybody on there. Top 5 defensive leaders. We finally make the board, and who is it with? Cody Barton.
Oh,
Cody Barton, who I think was getting some a little shade last week, came through. He had a big game. He was another one who had a big game. So, shout out to Cody Barton for stepping up. And I like to hope, I like to think that what we're seeing is growth in some of these players. And they they're starting to come along and figure out their role.
So I love that. I think that, that's growth, maybe. What I saw was some good scheme stuff because we saw
Okay.
a lot more of Khalid Hudson, which means that we were in our 4-3 package, which we barely run. And we ran it 11 times against the Atlanta Falcons, and I don't think we've run it at all this year. But because we have 2 starting safeties on IR, we have to kind of adjust for that. And so putting 4 DBs, 3 linebackers, and 4 linemen on the field. Sorry,
Mhm.
4 linemen on the field.
4, 3.
That's our 4-3.
4-3.
And I think that Cody Barton, who usually is either only 1 or 2 linebackers on the field, has to do a lot and has to think a lot. And I don't think that he is the best between the ears type of guy. When he has to think a lot, he makes mistakes. When he went out and just didn't have to worry about what lane to pick because he had 2 other linebackers that were right behind him,
Mm-hmm.
he went and he played smash mouth football and he went up and made quick decisions and made big tackles.
Yeah.
So I do think we saw the best of Cody Barton today, but I also think that, and this is what I've been saying about coaching, is we don't play to our players' strengths. We play to the scheme and say, go try to match that scheme instead of going, oh, you know what you're really good at, Emmanuel Forbes? You're a ball hawk. You might not be the biggest guy and you may jump a route and make a mistake, but instead of putting you in a position to succeed and say, go jump that route, go be aggressive, we say, no, play back. And then when you do go out and do the things that we drafted you for, being aggressive, we don't give you over the top help. And instead of when you make that mistake, that dude is running the other way for a touchdown. So that's the problem that I feel with this coaching staff is Cody Barton. We know that he may not be, or maybe we didn't, and we're learning. That's the growth thing is now we know that Cody Barton may not be the best with, oh, I got to make this decision. Oh, where do I go? And stops his feet. Instead, we take that off his plate and we say, go make that tackle. And he does. And then he leads the board. So that's the thing that
Okay.
I think that we're starting to see in this game, which was the promise is, hey, maybe we can make those decisions. We can make those player personnel decisions. We can make that coaching staff decision making where it's like, hey, we got to play to our players' strengths instead of just asking them to do what they're not good at.
That's a good point.
like
And
that.
speaking of Cody Barton, I mean, he's up there in the top 10 as far as tackles.
Yeah.
He's got 59 tackles, and Zaire Franklin for the Colts has got 77.
Yeah.
So he's number 9 on that ESPN chart as far as defensive players and their ranking, you know. So he's not the most dynamic player, but he's solid and he's coming along. And Cam Curl has been getting a lot of tackles too.
Curl did too. Yeah. Cam Curl's balling. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So here's my question to the viewers, because we talked a lot about some different names here. Who is the stand? You put it in the comments. Who is the standout player in your mind? Not the big name. Don't give me Sam Howell. Don't give me Terry McLaurin. Give me the standout that somebody stepped up.
Maybe
the surprise standout. Yeah, there you go. There you go.
Mm-hmm.
This
Like good question.
Put that in the comments.
Great question. What do we think of our boy Sam Howell this week? I'm doing a Howell meter here.
I thought Sam was strong. No turnovers. I mean, we didn't have the ball that much, so his numbers aren't huge. But he was solid with his downfield passing. Again, I'd like to see a little bit more of the short passing and use of the screen game. But it seems like we design a lot of plays that take place downfield.
Let's talk about that, Dad. What like we had a long conversation about EB's play calling. So what do y'all think about that? I think that I think EB, again, like I said earlier, had some hot and cold moments. But what do you think about the play calling? Eddie,
we lost the time of possession battle.
Yeah, we did
by a significant amount. So the fact that we got the win, we got out early. So the reason for me that they always say we got to win in all 3 phases of the game. If you can get something from your defense, a turnover or 2, we got 3. So that helped us. We got that big run from Jamison Crowder. That helped us. Kicking game was good. We scored early. We didn't score in the fourth quarter.
No, that's the problem.
We did not score in the fourth quarter. So
I've got a point.
Defense held on, Go ahead, Eddie.
Go ahead, Eddie.
Yeah, I think there was a combination, and I hate to say this, but I think we got lucky that we actually won this game.
Oh, yeah, they had a lot of opportunities.
I don't look at this as a game that we played very well offensively, but the one thing we did is we took advantage of really bad coaching by Atlanta.
Yeah, agreed.
All right, and I'll give you the points. There was the 2 delay games. What the fuck?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, after a spike.
Yeah,
right.
That's
the
horrible.
guy slams it, burns a freaking down, and then there's 2 delay games in a row.
Yeah.
That's
and then they had to take a timeout on another
coordinator, brain overload.
Yeah.
And then you got bad clock decision coaching going on like crazy.
Mm-hmm.
So who does that benefit? It benefited us.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so I don't take all the positivity of our offense. I think you were talking Sam Howell. He did great for what he had to work with. He didn't have the ball very long. He moved us down the field. Let's face it, the defense did it. The defense did it today. They had the picks. We had the line. We controlled the line of scrimmage. Casey 2-sack went off.
Two hill.
There was not much going on offensively for us, okay? This was a game in the trenches, and if it wasn't for the stupid delay of game calls and we could have lost this game, and I would have really been disappointed.
Yeah, because
the same way that Philly beat. Who did they beat?
They lost.
Philly lost this week.
So that's the way the Philly got beat. You know what I'm saying?
Right. By the Jets. I
see what you're trying to say. Eddie. Yeah.
So
but you know what?
That it's funny because I think that if Taylor Heineke played this game, we would have.
We might have lost. Yeah.
Well, you know what? The bottom line is it's so hard to win in this league. There's so many variables that can happen. And to me, the only stat is winning. Look at the San Francisco game.
Yeah.
I was like, I was walking by a store and it was like right down to the wire, and it was 17,
That was the
19.
Thursday night game?
No,
No, it was Sunday.
that
It was
was
the same
Sunday.
time as
Oh,
ours.
that was Sunday. Yeah.
And San Francisco had the ball. They were driving down. All they needed was a field goal, and they missed.
They missed it. They missed it. Yeah,
They missed. So you don't know. You don't really know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
We didn't score in the fourth quarter, but we held them to 0 in the third quarter.
but we
And
didn't. We also didn't control the ball. That's
Yeah.
my
That's the point.
a cut on EB. Not scoring in the fourth quarter, just not controlling the ball, not being smart. It's funny because you look at years past, and we always tried to sit on these leads, and we would just run, and we wouldn't get any
hate it.
yards, and we'd have to punt it. And EB, he mixes things up a little bit better. It almost felt like he was going for the juggler, and it's like, just play a little smarter, because you're throwing long balls, you're incomplete. Now, not only don't you get the first down, but you've stopped the clock a couple of times, so it gives them more opportunity and more to work with. Well, short pass. This is a good time for short passes and runs. We talked last week about the short pass and screen game being an extension of the run game. So use all of that when you're trying to eat up the clock. Keep it in the middle of the field. I would like to have seen more of that.
You see,
Clock.
like
Well,
did that in
you know
one
what, we-
sequence. Go ahead, Tico.
No, you go ahead. I got it.
I was going to
Go
say
ahead.
there was one sequence where they cut to the sideline and they showed Bieniemy, and it looked like he went through like 4 plays, and he was like, "Okay, those didn't work. Let's try something else." I was like, "That's what his
Yeah.
face looked like." He had that face like, "Oh,
Yeah, and he's
Yeah.
also got it. He's also communicating with the quarterback. Like, what do you like in these situations? They have countless meetings of, if we're in this situation, what plays are you comfortable for? And he has to know his personnel well enough
Yeah.
to know, okay, he likes this. What's a sneak play we can do? They tried that one bomb at the end of the game that if they had completed that bomb, we'd have been like, man, Howell was doing it, man. But it's only a matter of inches that we're screaming and yelling and high-fiving, or we're going, oh.
Yeah.
And
And
Bieniemy's
so-
still learning too. He's learning the team.
Yes.
He's hey, look, this is really his first year calling plays. He
And
wasn't
he
calling
can't
plays in
do the
Kansas City.
plays for the people. He can't run
Yeah.
the play for the
Yeah.
people.
I know.
Okay, I
know,
think
so-
we should move to the next thing. But before we do, I have one more thing to say, and I want to go back into the Twitterverse real quick.
Oh,
and,
good.
And bring
All right.
up some stats about Sam Howell. But before I do agree with you, Dad. I think it's interesting, that we forget that this is really Eric Bieniemy's first time calling plays.
Yeah.
And I think I expected, we expect little bumps and bruises from the offense here and there because it's a first time QB, first time play caller. It's a new offense. So, some bumps, and it was only a half this game, and we were able to overcome it. So I think that was really, really good.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, and we scored 7 in the second half. They only scored
Yeah.
6
Right.
because
There
we
you go.
stopped that 2-point conversion.
Yep.
Yeah.
There you go. Okay.
So,
Yeah.
as long
big
as we
play.
can,
That's the
if we
8-point
get, like
difference.
we kept saying, they need to get out to an early lead. They
Mm-hmm.
need to get out to an early lead. They did that.
They did.
The defense held in the third quarter. We scored.
Yep.
They
Yep.
held us in the fourth quarter. They scored.
Mhm.
But we had enough of a cushion, thank God.
did we have like a
yeah.
4 and
Boom.
out right after? Didn't they have a 3 and out right after they got the second half kickoff too? I think
They threw a pick.
they threw a pick. Which
Yeah,
is-
we picked them off. Yeah.
So I
Right.
mean, think about that. You have the momentum going in with the lead slightly, but
Yep.
it wasn't a big one, and then we have to kick to them, and we're like, imagine if they go down and score. It's a totally
Mhm.
different game.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
So let's keep it moving, guys.
So let's
Okay.
keep it moving. So I want to
Let's-
commanding our attention. I want to start off by looking at the other teams in the NFC East, but I have a stat for you guys on just the quarterbacks, right?
Okay.
So in 6 games, we're a third of the way through the season. That's a dagger. So sad to already be a third of the way through. But through 6 games, Sam Howell is 145 of 214 with 1,500 passing yards. 1,500 passing yards, 9 passing touchdowns, and 6 interceptions. Dak Prescott through 6 games is 132 of 190 with 1,333 passing yards, 6 passing TDs, and 4 interceptions. Jalen Hurts is 141 of 213 with 1,500 passing yards, 42 passing yards, 7 TDs, and 7 interceptions. Daniel Jones, through only 5 games, is 104 of 152, 884 passing yards, 2 touchdowns, and 6 interceptions.
Wow.
Sam Howell has an average of 250 yards per game, 9 touchdowns again, 6 interceptions with a quarterback rating of 90.1. Dak Prescott has an average of 212 a game, so less than Sam Howell, 5 touchdowns, 4 interceptions with a rating of an average rating of 87.5. Jalen Hurts has 250 yards per game, again, 7 touchdowns, 7 interceptions with a rating of 84.7. Daniel Jones has an average of 170 yards, 2 touchdowns, 6 interceptions with a rating of 71.7. So through 6 games, that was a lot of numbers. Through 6 games, Sam Howell leads the NFC East in touchdowns, is tied for second in interceptions, and has the highest rating through 6 games. And
That's
has
not bad.
the second most
We
yards.
like that. We like that.
That's not bad. I mean, 6 interceptions, we'd obviously like that to be down. The stat that's not listed here is the sacks.
Sacks. Yeah.
Which is
Okay,
the number
well-
that is the most scary to me because, again, like I always say, winning is the best deodorant, but we gave up 5 sacks to an Atlanta defense who had 5 sacks on the year.
Okay,
This
so
is a scary number, guys. He's
let
been
me come
sacked
in here. Let me come in here,
31
Bradley.
times. Do it.
let me
Let's
come
hear
in
it.
here with that sack number. It's not pretty.
It's scary.
No.
It's not pretty. He's like leading the league
Yeah.
in sacks. I mean, it's we got to get that together.
Yeah.
34 sacks.
Yeah.
34 sacks in 6 games.
Yeah.
We got to get that together.
Yeah,
That's
The,
you know.
the most in an entire season is 72, I think. He
Dak
is
has
on,
only
he's
been
on track
sacked
for
14
90.
times.
I
Yeah,
say
he's
50% of it is 50% of those are Sam's fault. The other
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I can't blame it all on Sam because when the pocket collapses and he turns around right into somebody. And we
You
say,
could-
get out
on
of
a
there.
lot of these plays on Sunday, you could see the moment when he started to panic. And typically what I see, what it looks like to me his brain is doing is he starts to panic, and so he goes, let me see if I can run and escape this. If he took that moment when he starts to panic and threw it away, I mean, just think where we would be if half of those sacks were just incomplete passes.
Because we can
Got it.
complete on 3rd and long. We've
Right.
seen it. We are able to do that, which we've never been able to do in the past.
But
Those are
I
drive
tell you,
killers, those
when you're
sacks.
getting your butt, when that offensive line is getting their butt busted, one of the things we admired about Brady was that even though he wasn't a runner, he was great inside the pocket. But in order to be great inside the pocket, the offensive line actually has to maintain a pocket.
Yeah.
So Brady would have 5-6 seconds back there because his boys up front were handling their business.
Mhm.
So
Same thing with
when
Aaron
we
Rodgers.
don't, when we don't have that type of power on the front line, there's no time to go, oh, let me throw it away when that big claws in your face, because we don't want to get those interceptions either. You just throw it up for grabs, or unless you throw it out of bounds, you got to be able to see where you know.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's also, I think the other person to blame is Eric Bieniemy, and it's the same thing that we just talked about. I'm not going to go into it again, but we have a lot of long developing plays downfield, and we don't have a lot of plays that are like Terry run a slant, Terry run a Jahan run a 5-yard stop and come back. Like there isn't a ton of short passing games, and I feel or short passing plays, and I think that there should be more because of the problem that Sam and the O-line, both of them combined, are having with all these sacks.
The little dunk passes are what bails out a guy who's indecisive.
Yes.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Okay.
Yeah, and
So green.
in Sam's defense, I won't say that he's necessarily indecisive. It's just that a play might work in practice. They may go over it a ton of times, over and over and over and over. Everybody knows where they're supposed to be, and then you get into a game situation, and your left tackle gets crushed,
Right.
and now the whole play breaks down. So it's everybody's. It's a collective.
That's why, that's why I said it's a 50% almost O-line.
On Sunday, it looked
on Sam. You know, it's not all his fault. No way.
Agreed, but on Sunday it actually looked to me like it was more. There was more coverage sacks. Like I didn't. He had time on some of those, and the time ran out. And you know, if you have that kind of time and run out, you got time to throw it away. That's he needs to get that decision making process down. I think.
Right, and I know he's a little fire plug too. He's a tough little kid. You can see him stop him in the press conference.
Hit
I'm
too
like,
much.
this guy's got some shoulder. Doesn't even look like looks like a fullback more than.
He does.
And his head looks like it's been in the helmet too long.
And yet I still worry about him getting hurt. He's getting
got helmet hair. He's got the helmet hair going. But
all right, let's move on to what's commanding our attention, guys.
Yeah.
That was commanding our attention.
I think that's what we were doing.
That was
a little bit.
We were starting with
but
the NFC.
with the stats. Okay, we got back to
Howell.
Jumped on the Howell
world, yeah.
But let's talk about. I mean, the Eagles lost.
Well, that's what I was going to say.
Honestly, I thought that we were going to be the only team that won.
I was so hoping Dallas was going to lose on Monday.
I know. I wanted the Cowboys to lose.
And I know my boy Curtis. My boy Curtis watches the podcast. Dude, you got to get your Chargers together, man. They're looking
Chargers.
rough.
I feel bad for them. I mean, as much as obviously, I always want the Cowboys to lose, but the Chargers have a way of losing games that it feels like they're in it right up to the end. They got a chance to win it. They
should have won that game,
and they blow it.
You got to give it. I'm sorry. Who's the quarterback?
Dak Herbert.
Herbert blew it. Okay, Herbert should take full ownership for that loss. He missed easy fucking passes all night long.
Yeah, that was
a
tough.
Sorry, the guy's too good.
Yeah,
it's on him. He should have owned it and just said, "It's on me."
Yeah,
we're gonna move forward. Yeah. But Dallas had, you know what? Dallas found a way to win the game.
They did.
Yep.
And you know what? There was like, oh, how great Dak's little accomplishment was at the end of the game. No, they fucking gave it to them.
Yeah. Well, the other team that I think found a way to lose, or the Bills found a way to win, was the Giants, who we play next week. And they looked at least competent against the Bills, more competent than we did. Or the Bills didn't look as good, or that was a weird game. Can we all that was a weird game?
And Tyrod Taylor, is that who was at the QB? He looked pretty good. I'm like, do we want him still in the game, or do we want Daniel Jones back? I'm not sure.
I said I wanted Daniel Jones.
I want Daniel Jones.
I was on a text thread with my two buddies, or Dallas and New Jersey fan. I told them, look, you guys are just completely stinking it up right now. Yeah. I mean, the Giants, to me, we got to be careful. We're going to go into New Jersey, and these guys always have our number.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't care who the quarterback is. Yeah. They could bring Eli back with his stupid little child helmet and him crying every time he got sacked. They can bring him back, and he'd throw some Hail Mary pass, and they'll beat us in the fourth quarter. So we better
catch it on their helmet.
Friggin' game. I don't want to be embarrassed by not only Dallas winning and then the Giants winning. That's not going to work for me.
Yeah.
So let's make this happen. How do we?
Daniel Jones gets too many rushing yards against us, man. What's the deal with him? Is he out?
No, I think he has a chance to come back.
We'll see.
It's questionable. He's listed as questionable right now.
I can update everybody if you follow the Instagram at command.west. Follow our Instagram. I can go ahead and give an update on an injury report later this week.
Thank you for putting that.
That'd be good. Thank you, Bradley.
And what about Saquon? No injury there, I guess.
He's back.
He looks like he's back.
He's back.
He looks like he's back. But you know what?
We got to stop in.
Giants are a scrappy team. They're always a scrappy team.
Yep.
What's our record with them over the last 10 games?
That's a stat.
Yeah.
We tied with them and lost to them last
year. Last year was a tie and a loss.
Right, I want to win
twice in 2020. I know that.
I don't know. We have to get that. We'd have to get that. But Saquon, Darius Slayton,
Yeah, they got
They
some
got
players.
this guy Wandale Robinson, wide receiver.
They
Isaiah
don't have a
Hodgins.
bunch of wide receivers though. I will say that. Like, their wide receiver room is looking a little bit frail, which is kind of nice for us. But
I just hate when
Tyrod
people make a
Taylor
name for themselves over
Yes,
us.
I
You know what I
know,
mean?
man.
It's like
Right.
this guy you never heard of before, and all of a sudden, but I'm
We
not
can't
gonna
have
I'm not gonna
Isaiah
speak that.
Hodges come in. Yeah, exactly. Don't even.
Don't
Throw
But
that
what-
away. Throw that
What we
away.
do want to do is, should we go into the game recap, or should we let's or the game the look at the next game, or does anybody have anything else they want to say commanding attention?
No, I mean,
No,
the only
we
thing
can-
is I was gonna say that the AFC East, but that's looking too far ahead. We still
Okay.
got the Jets, the Jets, Miami, and
New England.
who else?
It's a strong
And New
division that we're
England.
up against. Yeah. And we've already
New
lost
England.
to the Bills. So
New England is weak, but let's go back to the Giants.
Yeah.
Yeah. What are the four
You
commandments
didn't
you
want
guys
to talk.
think?
You sure you don't want to talk about Colorado?
you're gonna squeeze
Nah,
a little Deion here?
Colorado. That was such a heartbreak, man. They lost. They gave up. They were up 29-0 and lost 46-43.
Ooh.
What a
To
heartbreak!
Stanford.
Oh, man.
Travis Hunter got torched by number 13. I can't pronounce his last
He
name.
was so good.
He was
though.
a big monster of a dude. He
Yeah,
was
he was-
killing them.
He was good. I think
Killing
he's gonna
them.
get drafted off of that game.
Man, he looked so
he
good.
looked good, and
He's-
he's a big dude.
He's a big dude. Travis
he
Hunter looked
reminded
like a
me of-
little midget.
He reminded me of like an AJ Brown, or maybe not as big as DK Metcalf, but he's a big
He was
guy.
up there. He was
Yeah.
up there.
Yeah.
He's got enough size, man.
Anyway.
But
And
anyway,
the Eagles lost.
Deion's got go ahead.
Deion-
So
yeah.
what's their record now, T?
they're 4-3.
4-3. Okay.
They're kind of like right where we are. They're
Yeah, right.
except we won this last
Yeah.
game, and they won
Yeah.
their last game.
Yeah.
The only other thing is the only team we didn't talk about in the division is the Eagles, who are undefeated, lost to the Jets, who have been really struggling, have a really good defense,
Mhm.
and they beat the Eagles, ending their undefeated season, which of course we can all celebrate.
We can definitely say. I mean, both the undefeated teams went down. Obviously, I get a lot more joy of seeing the Eagles go down, but I always like to
Niners
see the
are-
undefeated
yeah,
team go down.
course.
I'm
And they're
always rooting for the
NFC.
other-
They're NFC.
and
so
they're
we know.
NFC.
And
Yeah.
they got
Yeah.
beat by an AFC team. Perfect.
Yeah.
It's like we said last year. There's a lot of parity in the league.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's surprising
Um,
some weeks.
and
This
the-
weekend had some surprises.
And the Eagles have a tough matchup next week against Miami.
The
And then
Eagles
they
have a
come-
tough matchup for a few weeks coming down the road.
and then
here.
they come
Yeah,
see us.
so do
So
we.
That's right.
if we win and they lose, we could be playing for a tie of the records.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Oh,
I'm not saying. I'm just saying.
wow.
Isn't
Wow.
that crazy?
Really?
That's how
That is
close
crazy.
our division is. It's really
Wow,
is
okay.
not that far.
Okay.
We're
love
3-3. The Eagles are 5-1.
5-1.
We're 2 games
They
behind.
lose, they'll be 5-2. We'll
And
be
they when we
4-3.
play and we play a head-to-head match in 2 weeks. So
Love it.
let's
love it.
let's
love
not
it,
look
love it.
too far ahead.
No,
Okay.
let's get to
Next
the
week.
About the
commanding.
Giants. That's
the commandments.
that could be a commandment. Like
Right.
the team
Don't
can't
look
do that.
ahead,
Don't
yeah.
be looking forward to
Yeah.
um
This is a
yeah.
in division matchup. Like we were saying, the Giants seem to always have the Commanders number.
they do.
No matter who's playing, to Eddie's point, no matter who's playing quarterback, Tyrod Taylor, Danny Jones, Eli Manning, they seem to always play us really hard. And I think that this is going to be a good game. I don't foresee a blowout in
Much as
either
I would love it.
direction. As much as I would love it, I really foresee this being a difficult, down to the wire game. We've had a lot of those this season. They're not fun to watch. My heart is always beating out of my chest. But
I know. God.
I wish that we could just kill a team, but never can.
Okay.
Yeah.
Shall I? You want me to kick us off? Because I got my commandment
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
teed up and ready.
Go for it.
Thou shalt prepare for the Giants as if they're the best team in the league.
Yeah, man.
Well, I mean, we've said it before. You can't take any team for granted. I think throw the record, and it's a division rival. You throw the records out the door. They got to prepare like
Yeah.
they're the freaking Niners or Eagles or Chiefs. So
Yeah.
And we got to score. Thou shalt score 20 points by halftime.
I like that. Strong
good
early
one.
start. There you go. I like that.
I've got
Good,
one.
Tico.
That's
Yeah,
very
what you-
specific. I like how specific that is.
Mine
Right?
is
It's
mine
not.
is
Let's.
even more specific.
Okay, perfect. Let's get let's hear it.
Not to knock down on Tico's because it was very specific.
No,
but
no,
mine is-
no.
I want to see a picture of Cam Curl on a Buffalo nickel.
Hey, what?
What?
Get it?
On a
Every
Buffalo-
play, he was in the Buffalo nickel position last week,
Yeah.
and he was playing out of his mind.
Okay.
So Cam
Uh,
Curl,
Oh, okay.
nickel.
It's-
Okay, got you.
It's
I
a
kept that.
commandment.
That's a commandment.
It's a
Now,
commandment
so-
that requires an explanation.
Yes,
But
yes. I
now that
forgot
you've
all
explained
about
it,
that.
I
I
like it.
like it.
So,
I like it.
want to explain
about
what the Buffalo
specific.
nickel is for our viewers who might not know what that formation is?
I don't really know how to describe it. I think you
Okay.
should handle that.
5
Oh, okay.
DBs.
It's 5 DBs, so that's where the nickel comes in. 5
Mhm.
DBs, but the Buffalo is Cam playing. It's almost a linebacker position, but it's
Mhm.
he's very kind of a fluid position in the defense.
Right. And
Which
he
is-
did what he did best, and that's the thing that you were trying to ask
Yes.
for. So that's why I command
Yes.
him to play the position he's supposed to,
Yeah.
which is the Buffalo nickel position.
And I want to
And-
see. I
Do it
wanna
on
see a-
every play.
I want to see a picture, even more specific. I want to see a picture of Cam Curl in a Buffalo nickel with his hands on a football,
Yeah, instead of
up like
just
this.
knocking
Right,
him down.
right.
I want to see
Dragging
a
it
Cam
down.
Curl interception. He
Instead of the
deserves
ball
it.
hitting him in the head. Whoa, I got it.
Yeah.
The irony there is the Buffalo nickel, the head side of a Buffalo nickel, the actual Buffalo, was like the same design, same Native American that was on the helmet of the
Right,
Redskins for
and
so many
that's-
years, right?
Mhm.
Chief Black Feet that I was telling you about from the
Yep.
1923 book. Shelby 23. Little plug out to my buddy's book who's coming out on Amazon. Look for it. Shelby 1923. An incredible story.
And the tails side, the
The
Buffalo
tails
side
side.
is what the old Buffalo logo used to look like.
Really?
Just kind of a standing buffalo. It's not wasn't
the
that
two
kind of
teams
charging.
that have indigenous roots are there's more. Kansas City
Yeah,
as well.
there's more.
There's a lot of sports teams with indigenous roots.
All right.
Yeah.
so we
Okay,
won't go there.
Okay.
Brad.
Mine left. I'm stalling
last
because
one.
I'm trying to think of one as we go.
I was
was
trying to buy you
I was
time.
letting the nickel story go because I was like, I'm trying to think of a good one.
Mine was a stretch, so
Yeah.
you're
Well-
like, where are you going with this, Ed?
So mine, like most of mine, is kind of a twofer, but I want to see our team make thou shalt make the plays in the red zone on both sides of the football.
Both sides of the football.
So I want to see, which we've done well, is red zone efficiency. In this game, we seem to be always in the red zone, even without, driving down the field and getting there because, some circumstances such as turnovers and a great, punt return. But we've done a good job of getting touchdowns and not field goals, and I want to continue that. And also in this game, which I didn't feel like we've done a good job of the season, was we limited their touchdowns in the red zone.
Yeah,
We've got
for
an
sure.
interception. We got 2 field goals. They got 2 field goals. So field goals, not touchdowns, and maybe an interception or a turnover in the red zone.
Sure.
So red
Yeah,
Love
zone
it.
plays on both sides of the football, and that is my last commandment.
And for the viewers, feel free to drop your own commandment in the comments.
The 5th commandment will be you guys.
There you go.
All right. Should I get
You're
us
only
out
gonna
of
get
here? Or
one
does
from
anybody
us?
have any
You
other
only have
points?
one fan? Is that what you're saying?
I didn't say that. Did I
To
say that?
you, one person that
you.
watches us.
It's you all, of course, I'm saying,
And I'm so glad you didn't say y'all.
y'all. Well,
We're in the West, but we're not that far west.
grew up in Maryland, which is very close to the South. I think we said
Yeah.
y'all a lot when I was growing up. So
Y'all is actually the grammatically correct term. Y'all
It
know
is
that.
not.
It is.
well, it's you all maybe, but
No, y'all is a grammatically correct conjunction.
It is, but it's
Really?
got to be an Urban Dictionary slang.
It's not.
Right, yeah,
Yeah.
no, right.
No,
It's
it's not.
a
Look it up.
contraction.
It's a
When I was
correct
working at my
contraction, yeah.
server job, they were like, y'all is not a slang. It's actually, you can use y'all because it's like, it's,
But it must have worked.
So
its
So
way
you
there
so
from
you learned it in a
some time
restaurant.
back.
Well, then we know it's true. Is that what you?
I looked it up because I was,
Okay,
I
good.
was,
Any
Okay,
person
good.
I
who
was like you
uses
guys.
it,
I was very,
Skeptical?
skeptical.
Okay.
I was about to say
Spectacle. You were very
I
spectacle.
very
reckon,
spectacle.
I reckon
Okay.
that anybody who uses the word y'all is obviously a gunslinger, and they have it for a reason. They use y'all
Well,
because
well,
y'all don't
y'all,
have no guns.
well, y'all, thanks for tuning in to this week's episode of Command West. That's a wrap. We hope y'all had just
Don't.
as much fun at listening as we did, bringing you the latest and
Yeah,
greatest
man.
on the Burgundy Gold. We can't be doing too much of this because that's too much Cowboys. But
We can do
please,
left hand up though.
there you go,
Yeah.
left hand up.
Besides,
Please,
y'all, that thing sounds too Western cowboy to me.
yeah, exactly.
No
Well,
y'all coming out
left
of
As,
hand
as
up.
country as DC is, really.
Yeah, exactly. Left hand up. Please don't forget to like, subscribe to the video. Anywhere you listen, Apple Music, Spotify. Check our Instagram out. I just made it. It's looking very nice and pretty. Command.west on Instagram. And then comment down below. Thanks so much.
Excellent.
Like us and tune in next week.
See ya.
See ya.
Go Commanders.
HTTP.
Peace.